Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Prismata. Let's jump into the queue and see who's playing. I happen to notice, in fact, that DeBelange is playing Homeless. That should be fun. DeBelange, a very strong player. It's always a treat to see him play. Would expect to lose, I don't know, 80 or 90% of the time against him if we were matched. Like, I don't think it's impossible to win, but I definitely would not win often. I don't know, I feel like most of the top players, like, I've just literally never won a game against. And everyone else, like, I do okay. I don't know, I guess that's not true. There's like a medium tier where I expect to usually lose, but I've won a few times, like X-Yatsuba or Fornonymous. I think I might have beaten Fornonymous once. But like, I don't think I've ever beaten Emsven. I don't play enough games to just like grind it, you know. Even if I had, let's say, a 10% win rate against Emsven, like, I don't think I've played 10 games against him. I just don't play enough games for this. Well, that looked like someone accepting a gambit. Is that what happened? He absorbed onto a rhino when he had a wall, didn't he? What was that for? To kill this rhino? So who's winning this game? Like, 5 attack versus 6. 11 drone. Well, phages complicate the drone counts, but Homeless looks to have another drone or two, but be down a couple of attack. And he is having trouble coping with these Nevos, apparently. I mean, I'm inclined to say with no deep analysis that like DeBelange must be winning because he's DeBelange, right? I don't play Nevos very well, and so I don't totally understand like what kind of problems they're giving Homeless here. Wow, that is a very late arms race. This is surprising to me by a lot. What is this about? Yeah. I guess he was using it as like a tech sink because he couldn't spend his red and blue, and then he realized he could click Phage instead and not have to buy a bad arms race just to spend tech. I guess one way you can come to the conclusion that DeBelange is ahead is actually like he has more attack and less drones, but well, fewer drones, less income. But if he wants, he can click his Manticore and like have the same attack, but more drones. So, oh no, it was a trick. DeBelange pretended to buy arms race to trick Homeless into getting them. I really don't understand why any player would get arms race here. There seems to be like defensive tempo is worth a lot when players are buying force fields. So, I'm not sure what this is about. Okay, and then you click Phage and buy a splitter? Or do you actually get a Tarsier? Yeah, you can. Nice. See, look how much flexibility the arms race has given to DeBelange. He was able to just buy, like, everything he wanted. Spend a triple blue and a red on a turn. Where previously this green had been sort of like going into force fields or something. It suddenly went into an attacker. Alright, he basically bought an attacker for 3 green and 2 gold. No, 3 green and 3 gold. But I have seen Homeless beat DeBelange. Pretty impressive feat. I'm not sure what the point of these Nevos is. Like, is it really that much of an imposition against Homeless? It's like making him hold back a splitter, basically. It doesn't seem that amazing. Yeah, like, I don't know. The Nevo was basically your opponent has to attack for one less next turn. Does that really do much for you? Eokite? Eokite? I don't know. 90 seconds, base plus 8. Neither of us contributing bonus unit cards here. Very exciting, not to even see the little raffle. What's the deal? Like, fission and cluster kind of work together, and that fits together with other blue-green pressure attackers? I said fission and cluster, but I meant fission and trinity. Wow. Well, that's what my opponent is doing that. This seems pretty clearly like next turn is going to come either fission vivid again, or else like trinity and then a drone. Whew. It's a lot to deal with on like turn 1. There's not really anything big you can go for here, and so the question is like, do you go for trinities or do you go for Vors? And I don't think there's enough support for Vors, although I mean, you know, Husk is interesting support. I mean, there's a slight problem with the Vivid, which is that it makes the Trinities worse, because you're not at all breach-proof still. So maybe you just wouldn't do that? Yeah, I sort of expect they're going to get Fission Vivid next turn and not get Trinities. Just Vivid, just Fission Rush me, basically. So what do you do against that? Boreholes and walls? Just do something a little slower? I guess. No, they're going for the slower route themselves. Okay, well, a resource they're not going to have as much of as they might like is drones to hold and force fields to build. Right, they're losing a lot of that. And I hope to make some pressure plays with like Plasma Fire or even just Borehole against that. Depending on how fast they go, I might or might not be able to get Plasma Fires going. Yeah, there's the Fission. Next up, a Borehole, I suppose. And then I'll be under a bit of pressure, but I can hold for at least a turn and then start building sort of useful stuff. Can I just like get a conduit here and then plasma next turn? I don't think so. Opponents gonna kill 1 NG, and they threaten to add 2 more attack, threatening to kill 2 NGs. So I suppose I could do this, and this allows a Plasma Fire, right? Which is the kind of thing they can't be happy about. Right, they click here, and then they have 2 attack, they buy at most 2 more, kills 2 NGs, I get Plasma NG. And I'm like pretty uncomfortable, but so are they. Really? You have enough econ for that? I also love that they're taking a break from adding new attackers this turn. Where did their green go? They're just not spending it. Okay. I think you should cut the Animus and build a Fission. You also, like, might as well click the Pixie, but... Okay. This is a slight problem for me because I have to force field now. I shouldn't get a drone. Should I? It feels like, I don't know. It feels like I don't have enough econ to keep this whole Plasma Fire business going, but maybe I do. I've been told, like with Plasma Fire, you should be trying to sell all your drones as quickly as possible to achieve a breach right away. And droning back up, like, feels like, hey, I'm no longer on a timer, but you should just accept that you're on a timer. But I'm not sure what else I would do with this right now. Like, another conduit? Just NGs? Maybe just NGs to protect the patroller? That's probably better. They want to harvest their fission, which seems reasonable. Like, at worst, you can turn it into gold over the course of several turns. But probably you turn it into, like, force fields or something. Well, you can't really do that, can you? NGs are just fine for them, even if, like, they don't need the green. So, sure, buy them. Why not? Okay, we are full smork mode here. Buying those NGs allowed me to spend 2 green on attackers this turn. That's what they did, which, like, a drone might not have done. Yeah, because if I built a drone, I would need 2 fewer NGs, which I guess would be okay, but not very comfortable. Wow. Aren't your own boreholes in some danger if you do this? I guess you have a lot of green. Well, no, you just spent it all, huh? Vivid? I don't think that's a good idea. Yeah, let's just burn up these drones as fast as I can. I think they might be buying... Oh, they're buying 2 drones to click and force field. Sure, that's fair. And I think I do need to buy a new drone here. What else could I do instead? Another fission? Yeah, the drone can wait. If I ever get it. We need to go in for the knockout punch here. We're killing at least 1 borehole here. So I don't need that force field, is that correct? They're attacking for 6 or 5, both of which are blocked by what I already have. So I have the luxury here, if I want, of buying a drone. Do I want that? Or should it be an NG? I think it should be an NG. I'm gonna need granularity next turn, right? They're gonna be attacking for 5? Maybe I don't, actually. I guess they... Yeah. This is gonna die. Do I need granularity next turn? Aren't they gonna just attack for... Like, they lose this. They attack for 6. How do they add any more attack, right? And then this dies off, and they're just attacking for like 4 or 5. 4 is a force field. 5 is a wall. I think this is okay. Yeah, now they can't fire the plasma anymore. So this is what I was talking about at the beginning of the game, of the resource that they spent a lot of early was their drone supply, right? And now it's starting to be a problem. I don't know. They'd be in tough a tough spot, even if they had, like, could convert some of their vivids into drones, I think. But this made it more pronounced. It was just more pronounced when they didn't have the drones, so... Opponent went for this kind of early rush, and I went instead for kind of a more tempo-y thing, right? Of waiting a while and then adding a big burst of attack, rather than this sort of dribbling it out. But doing so very quickly. You know, it must be said, opponent's line was aggressive. I think that, like... I don't actually like this Trinity here. I think it should have just been a fission. Like... I don't know. Maybe not. The argument against the fission is, like, okay. Let's start with why I didn't think Trinity was very good. It's like, it seems to me that this early conduit is an aggressive play, right? You're getting this green because Fission Turret is in the set and you want to attack your opponent. Trinity Drone delays that and gives me time to set up a Blast Forge, right? If they build a Fission Turret here, I clearly, like, what am I supposed to do? I just have to take at least 1 damage and probably more because I don't plan to build a Blast Forge on turn 2. So a Fission Turret on turn 2 is going to get in like 2 damage right away, and it's going to be a big problem for me. However, it's not like totally insane, I think, to build the Trinity. I was thinking at first it was inconsistent with the decision to cut for early tech, but you know, this is sort of just an approach to make sure you spend all your energy, I guess. I don't know. This just seems silly, doesn't it? Like, in a Trinity drone set, you build a conduit. Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I don't like this opening for economy. It could be okay for aggression. In a Trinity drone set, you can build a conduit as a $4 drone when you lack the energy to build a $3 drone, right? Turning a gold into an energy, sort of, for a turn. You of course, this isn't yet a drone, but you follow through by buying a cheaper drone next turn, and like it all comes out to being a $4 drone bought a turn early. Which is a lot like a $3 drone built next turn, kind of. But Vivid Drone does the exact opposite. It lets you turn excess energy into gold. So if you buy both of them with the plan to get a Trinity, that is, if you buy Vivid and Conduit planning Trinity, you're sort of just saying, like, you're still spending 6 and 2 energy on effectively 2 drones, but you've reduced the number of drones that you have by 2 by like converting 3, you know, by rolling some of them up into a big old Vivid, right? So this is not really a net positive economically compared to just drone. It gives you more flexibility for sure, because you, like, you know, you have some green. You don't have to build drones with, you don't have to turn it into gold. You can build attackers with it, or you can Trinity and then build drones for a while and then build attackers later. So like it's not strictly worse by any means, but it's not economically better It's better for flexibility for the other things you can do besides just building economy. So I think that if this was my opponent's follow-up plan, their turn 1 was incorrect. And they should have just gotten like drone, 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 drone. Or maybe drone, drone, vivid conduit or something like that, right? Sure, that would also be fine. Let's actually compare. We have the time. We can just do both, right? So how I want to show the two lines opposite each other, right? And so like it's pretty easy. I see. I can have his line be the one that goes vivid conduit, and I will start with 6 drones. Yeah. So I'm pretending that I had only 6 drones and I bought 2. These 3 drones are turning into this 1 drone, and this one I'm buying. Right, so now I have the standard player 1 position next turn, and my opponent has his like vivid econ player 2 start. Right, and so what exactly is the difference between these two positions? We both are floating 2 gold and have 11. We have 9 fixed income per turn. His advantage is he has turned 3 of his drones into a trinity. Right? Which is often good. You like to have trinities because it means you can click your trinities for money, and like the conduits that you might want for tech eventually, but not yet, like you can use them for gold. But you know, he immediately follows up with a trinity, so a fission. He's not using the option value of this conduit yet. And I think like a drone, and I don't remember what happened in the game, but I didn't really want to analyze this line super far, just point out like, hey, you know, how different really are these two lines? And it's just that these 3 drones were morphed into a trinity drone, which gives you better option value, but fewer drones. Whether that's better in a specific set, it's hard to say. If you were ever planning to buy plasma fires, I think you'd prefer to have the drones, and you're not that excited about clicking trinities because you want to accumulate some green for your plasma fire, right? Although it turns out my opponent didn't do that. They clicked fission to get the plasma fire. So I don't know, maybe what they did was fine. But I feel like I would have been under a lot of pressure if they just got something super low econ with like just fissions trying to rush me down. I don't know. I think that line is pretty unsound, but with Vivid, isn't it like kind of good? Not sure. Okay, well, let's move on from that. They got this Vision, and then Vivided away another drone, which it's hard to argue with. Here, I think like this Vivid is clearly great because you're floating energy and you don't seem to be in any particular... You're already quite low on drones. It's not like worsening your position a lot to double down on that plan. And in the meantime, you get a cheap drone that you couldn't get otherwise. I forgot I can't just click units for fun. That makes the analysis canceled. So, and they got this borehole, which, like, sure. Before I buy this plasma fire, like, what exactly is the position? Who's winning? Opponent has 3 permanent attackers. And it's not really like super clear to me what I have to show for it. Like, we're both on 13 drones. I guess I have another conduit. That's something. And I have a bigger drone supply. But all in all, like, you know, we have the same... Well, okay, the other thing is I'm half a turn ahead, right? Whatever I choose to do this turn, I can use, like... Because right now we're comparing positions after my opponent's turn, which is a time when you sort of expect to be a little bit behind. if you're ahead after your opponent's turn, like, you've kind of already won the game. You should be leapfrogging each other until one of you establishes a position where they're clearly ahead forever, and then the other player resigns. So at this point, we're like, we have half a turn's worth of tempo, and we're already tied on drones. So we're like, and plus we're up a conduit. So we're like up economically, and we could choose to press that advantage by building like 2 more drones or something. Or we could take the fact that opponent has 3 permanent attack and try to compete. Try to say, okay, I'm all right with being tied with you on drones, but I can't stand being behind on attack. I want to compete on that. And I think that, like, that's what the plasma does, and I think it was the correct plan. Opponent has... They have what? They have chosen a plan which... the compromise that they have made is to turn a large number of their actual drones into other stuff. And furthermore, to build attackers who are not super efficient. They're good pressure, but they're not efficient, right? You spent 6 green blue for 1 attack per turn, you know, which is like if you ignored the pixie, that would be terrible. With the pixie, it's like fine, but it's a very short-term thing. And by building the plasma fire, I can sort of try to punish them and say, all right, you know, are you going to really be able to defend a plasma fire without force fields? You know, because that's what they've done, is they've lowered their force field supply. And the boreholes are also like sort of fake defenders. They look like they're defending, but you really don't want to defend with them. And so really, opponent has like 13 drones, 3 Tarsiers, and 2 NGs. And against that, like, a plasma fire looks pretty sick, doesn't it? Now, of course, it's not really that. They have different tech, right? They don't have red, they have blue and green, which is much better at defending. But green, you know, kind of needs you to have drones to defend. And just a single blast forge to make walls probably isn't going to cut it against a plasma fire plus whatever other crap I can put out there. So that was the idea. And opponent tried this plan and then adjusted to what I suggested. It's always fun when, you know, I know they're not watching me. This is not on Twitch. But it's just like you look at the turn and both of us sort of agree, like, yeah, that doesn't seem like the right plan. It's nice to put yourself in opponent's shoes and see what they could do differently, and then they agree with you. You know, I wish they'd stuck with the Animus, of course, because I think it's worse. But, you know, in the moment, it's like, okay, yeah, I do seem to be evaluating the position reasonably well if my opponent agrees. I think this game was a good example of how to use Plasma Fire, though. So let's talk a little more about that. It is tempting to... When you're thinking of building a Plasma Fire, right? It kind of sucks to have that damage absorbed, doesn't it? Like, you build something that sells a drone per turn, and it just, like, gets 2 damage absorbed and then destroys 2 NGs. Like, sure, trading a drone for 2 NGs is good, but it's not worth paying 12 GGGB for the privilege of that, right? And so you might say, well, the first Plasma, like, it kind of sucks if you're not over the absorb barrier. And so you should build a couple permanent attackers first so that your Plasma Fire is less bad. And there are times when that's a thing you can do. For example, if you could like build 2 Tarsiers and then a Plasma the next turn, you're never like, you know, that's nice. But suppose that you do that, right? You say, all right, well, I'm just gonna build Splitter Gauss Cannon here, because I don't want my plasma to get absorbed. And then next turn I'll build this great plasma, right? But now opponent just absorbs the splitter and the Gauss cannon. Have you really like prospered in any interesting? Oh, don't build a Gauss cannon, you weirdo. Have you really prospered in any interesting way from this? You just now have two attackers that do actually nothing. You get this cool plasma, assuming you could defend, which at the moment like is kind of awkward for me. And so, you know, by doing that, you can assure that your plasmas are better. That a plasma built a turn after a splitter and a Gauss cannon will be a better plasma fire. But you had to build a really bad splitter and a really bad Gauss cannon. Like, they're bad units, but they're even worse when the damage is absorbed. And so you're sort of like tricking yourself, I think. I think a lot of players do this, especially sort of new players, and it's also like tempting for, you know, stronger players too sometimes to think in that way of like, oh, I hate selling back my drones, and you don't even think of it as selling them back, but turning drones into attack, like, ugh. It's a pressure play, but it's not really putting on pressure because of the absorb that it's giving them. What if I just waited a while? Or what if I just bought some more drones to drag out to make sure I can keep firing the plasma? But buying the early plasma, yeah, it means the opponent absorbs too, but it means you get to skip the step where they were absorbing all your damage and go straight to the part in the game where you're killing their stuff. Pretty cool, right? And likewise, like, it's tempting to buy back drones because you're like, I know every time I click my plasma fire, I'm like looking nervously at my drone count. I'm like, ugh, am I gonna be able to kill him fast enough? What if I just cut some of this and built a drone? Then I would last longer, wouldn't I? You would, but that's not really what plasma fire is about. Plasma fire is about killing your opponent very quickly because you've gotten past the point in the game where drones are good and you want to turn them into stuff that is good, i.e. killing enemy shit. It's a very swear-heavy video today. I don't know why. Plasma fire just gets me in that kind of mood, maybe. And so here, again, would have been a tempting... Like, I don't know, I didn't put it on the table, but I'm sure I was considering drone NG at this point. But I think I actually said full smork at this point, didn't I? Right, we're very committed to killing opponent quickly, and I just don't have time to slow down and buy drones when I could buy something like amazingly efficient, like a fission turret, right? You know, a drone produces 1 gold per turn. Imagine if you could spend 1 and a green more to turn your gold into an attack. And it's not like 1 and a green per gold into attack. It's like 1 and a green now to turn 1 gold per turn into 1 attack per turn, which is like incredible when the opponent's under pressure to defend. So if you're at the point of the game where buying attackers is good and you have something as amazingly efficient as fission turret, like, buying drones is probably not the right idea. What about enemy plasma fire? Like, was it good? It seems a bit weird. They just don't have enough drones to support this kind of lifestyle. I think they should have sort of, like, tried for the plan of outlasting me. What would that look like? I mean, you can build a wall here, and you still get out 2 attack, which is not bad. Yeah, we do click the pixie. And I'll get this NG because... Or rather, I'm like planning to float the green because I can always turn it into gold next turn. But opponent's threat against me is actually low enough that maybe I could get a drone in this situation. And like clicking gets me that. Like, realistically, they don't threaten to add much more attack next turn. I should be okay with a drone. And I don't need the NG. And rather than float the money and the green, I'd rather get a drone. I know this goes against what I was saying about Plasma Fire, but it seems okay when you couldn't have bought an attacker and you're otherwise floating the money. And you don't need the preemptive defense of an NG. Yeah, I don't know. Looking at it now, actually, this Outlast plan does not look very good for opponent, does it? Like, their fission turret train is not alive long enough, and I'm just doing too much damage. Right, like I'm doing 9. I don't know. It seems like I'm still winning. I'm able to get this like actual procession of vision turrets. And opponent is having to force field, but you know, they're also getting to click visions, so I mean, you could try the Plasma Fire now, but there's only one drone, so it doesn't seem that great. Yeah, I think this is just a story of like, well, Plasma Fire is pretty good, isn't it? Hang on, no, I should. What I should have done is click this Trinity last turn. I didn't do it because I was thinking like, oh, I can always click it next turn. But I have more conduits than Trinities. That's not really true. So they still need a force field. Yeah, it looks like they're... I don't know. I'm very low on drones, like shockingly low on drones. I might be losing this. But they're having a lot of trouble keeping up as well, right? They're about to start losing these guys, probably. Or else absorbing on them, which is also bad. I have too much green! I don't have enough Trinities to actually convert all this stuff. I don't know. Okay, I mean, we don't have to get like super into the weeds on this. This seems closer to me. But I guess all their fissions are about to die, but on the other hand, all my drones are about to die. Yeah, it does seem pretty close. This keeps alive their last borehole. I think I should not be clicking this vision. I actually just need to like drone back up now that their attackers are dying. Because I can't finish them before the plasma like runs out of ammo. But I can outlast them. Kind of weird, isn't it? Their outlast strategy like sort of petered out a bit, and now mine is... Now I'm in outlast mode? No, you still need NGs. Oh, it is very stressful to have so little of everything. I want to buy Trinities so I can click them with all this green, but I need my plasma clicks. I'm interested to see where this game goes. Do I win? It seems like I must. They're down to like no attack, and they're still having to wall and force field, and they're like out of walls. I guess they don't need the force field this turn, right? Yeah. I really need Eternity. It's very stressful, but I need to be able to turn this into money. Or all this green is going to waste. And they're finally like not attacking me for any appreciable amount. They're out of walls. This doesn't defend the borehole. So maybe they force field again. And get a splitter? I don't know. I think I'm still winning this. But they have so many drones. Maybe not. Maybe I'm not winning. Now I'm suddenly like having to absorb on a patroller? Did I fail to buy NGs last turn when I could have? No. I'm just gonna buy another borehole to replace the one I'm losing, I guess. No. A wall's better than that. Is it? Maybe just float the blue? Yeah, they really want to keep this borehole alive because it's causing me a lot of trouble. If they attack for just 3, it's a lot easier. Okay, maybe I did actually win this one. Like, they can't actually attack with this. So I guess what that means is they should have absorbed on wall. I'm just like right on the line of being wiped out. It's not a comfortable place to be. But I guess I'm stable. Like, I can buy these 3 units for $9 every turn. And opponent can't really live. So I guess I get there. Opponent has to keep holding splitters and like, yeah, okay. Whew. So I do still win, but it takes forever, and there's a lot of opportunities to misplay. Anyway, so that was like sort of a demo on proper plasma fire use, I hope. I probably got some things wrong, but that's the idea, is like, when you have decided to plasmify, just like put a brick on the gas pedal and focus on steering, right? And you don't need the brakes. What a dumb metaphor. Okay, cool. So boreholes and fissions applied the extra pressure that Plasma Fire needed, and opponent couldn't sustain pressure because they'd sold off all their drones. Neat. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.